Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I will summarize the chapter 4 of Rich Dad Poor Dad, titled The History of Taxes and the Power of Corporations, in less than 10 minutes, so stay tuned with me and let's quickly summarize the chapter. Many people see Robin Hood as a hero, taking from the rich and giving to the poor. Rich Dad did not share that option. He called Robin Hood a crook. Though the popular sentiment is that the rich should pay more in taxes and give to the poor, in reality it is the middle class that is heavily taxed, especially the educated upper-income middle class. To understand how this happens, Robert gives a brief history of taxes. In England and America, originally there were no taxes, only occasional temporary levies to pay for such things as wars. In 1874, England made income tax a permanent levy on its citizens. In America, the land where a tax on tea led to the Boston Tea Party protest and helped ignite the Revolutionary War, the adoption of the 16th Amendment in 1913 made an income tax permanent. These countries were able to get taxes accepted by the majority because they were first levied only against the rich. However, although income tax was designed to punish the rich, it wound up punishing those who had voted for it, the poor and middle class. Rich Dad explained that he and Poor Dad were opposite. Poor Dad, as a government employee, was rewarded if he spent money and hired people, making his organization larger. But for Rich Dad, the fewer people he hired and the less money he spent, the more he was respected by his investors, and as the government grows, so does the amount of tax dollars needed to support. Poor Dad sincerely believed the government should help people. He and Robert's mom worked for the Peace Corps, training volunteers to go to Malaysia, Thailand, and the Philippines. They were always seeking more grants and budget increases so they could hire more people. For Robert, it was a challenge to work for one of the biggest capitalists in town and go home to a prominent government leader. It wasn't easy to know which dad to believe. But over time, as Robert studied the history of taxes, he saw an interesting perspective. As the government's appetite for money grew, taxes soon needed to be levied on the middle class, and from there it kept trickling down. But the rich saw an opportunity because they don't play by the same set of rules. Corporations, popular in the days of sailing ships which became, offered a way around taxes. Understanding the legal corporate structure gave rich a steep advantage and allowed them to outsmart the intellectuals. The government ideal is to avoid having excess money. If you fail to spend your allotted funds, you risk losing it in the next budget. Business people, on the other hand, are rewarded for having excess money and are applauded for their efficiency. And as the government continued its ideal and I spent more and more money, more taxes on the middle class, and eventually the poor were needed. A corporation is simply a legal document that creates a legal entity. It is not really a thing, not a factory or a pup of people. But it offers a lower income tax rate than individuals have, and certain expenses can be paid by a corporation with pre-tax dollars. If those who get up and go to work at their jobs and pies could only understand the way the rich play the game, they could too. The problem is, the harder you work in a job, the more you must pay the government. Taxes end up punishing the very people who voted them in. Attempts to punish the rich rarely work, because the rich find ways to minimize their tax burden. One such way is Section 1031 of the Internal Revenue Code, which allows a seller to delay paying taxes on a piece of real estate that is sold for a capital gain through an exchange for a more expensive piece of real estate. As long as you keep trading up in value, you won't be taxed on the gains until you liquidate. Those who don't take advantage of these savings are missing a chance to build their asset column. In all the years Rich Dad was guiding Robert, he was trying to teach him that knowledge is power. And with money comes great power that requires the right knowledge to keep it and make it multiply. Without that knowledge, the world pushes you around. The tax man is a bully who will always take more if you let him. Don't let him by making your money work for you. Smart tax consultants and attorneys are worth their cost, as it's still cheaper than paying the government. It's expensive to not know the law. In his mid-20s, when he was just out of the Marine Corps and working for Xerox, Robert was to form his first corporation in 1974 and work harder as day job to amass as much money as possible to invest in estate. Disappointed by. He became one of the top salesmen at Xerox and in 3 years was making more in his real estate holding corporation than he was at Xerox. His company bought him his first Porsche, proof that the plan was working. The lessons he learned from Rich Dad helped him back out of the proverbial rat race at an early age, and he to help others do the same. Financial IQ, or financial intelligence, is what makes that possible. It's made up of 4 things: accounting, financial literacy, or the ability to read numbers and evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of any business, investing, the science and strategies of money making money, understanding markets, the science of supply and demand, and market conditions, and the law, tax advantages and protections. Understanding those legal advantages is profound when it comes to long-term wealth. For instance, a corporation can pay expenses before paying taxes, whereas an employer gets taxed first and must try to pay expenses on what is left. Board meetings in Hawaii, car payments and insurance and health club memberships can be pre-tax expenses for a corporation. Corporations also offer legal protection from lawsuits. When someone sues a wealthy individual, they are often met with layers of legal protection and often find that the wealthy person actually owns nothing. They control everything, but own nothing. Robert urges those who own legitimate assets to find out more about corporations' benefits and protections. Garrett Sutton's books are among many that can help. So with that, it's the end of this video. Subscribe to my channel for more videos like this and see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.